All right, welcome everybody to the webinar here, Austin Investment Webinar here, Cashflow City. Hey, I really appreciate you guys joining us today to talk about the Austin real estate market and all the great things that are going on here. And it was really exciting to see that all across the nation we're seeing a real estate recovery, and in a big way. Right now, I've been talking to some of the top agents in the city, including just a friend of mine, David Rice, out of the Southwest Market Center, and we were just talking about how the market is heated up so quick on the selling side that it's actually getting to the point where it will even be worse because people won't be able to, even though they can sell their property very easily, they can't so easily buy another property. So that can exasperate a seller's market. And so, but for those that are landlords, it's a great thing, a great position to be in. Austin's the #1 job growth in the nation, and with people moving here from all over the world. In fact, this Austin American Statesman reported in a recent newspaper article that we have 130 people a day moving to Austin. So that's a pretty big number, and it reminds me of the late 1990s when people were moving here and taking advantage of all the job growth for the .com industry. But now we're a much more diversified economy, and so we're excited. I think, Daniel, would you say it was the 14th? It was 14th,
no,
now 11.
Yeah, we jumped from 14 to 11.
We went from the 14th largest city in the nation to the 11th largest city in the nation. And so if you guys, just a little housekeeping here, you've got a question box down there that you can ask me questions. I've got a lot of slides here. I've got 79 slides to get through in this hour, so I probably will not answer the questions till the end, and then we'll have a Q&A at the end if anybody has any questions, concerns, and we'll go from there. So just a little bit about myself, a little bio. I moved here 20 years ago. I've been in the business for 30 years, and I know Austin. I know every street practically in Austin. I know every subdivision, every builder, and they know me too. So I know where to target to be able to purchase properties. Over 100 million in sales, actually more like 120 million in sales in the past 6 years, and over 600 investor properties sold. And a national speaker. I talk on national stages now, not only about real estate, but also about video marketing, and that's becoming a hot topic. So if you're interested in video marketing, to get off topic here, give me a call or contact me. You got my contact information at the bottom of this slide, and I think it's all the way throughout. If you'd like a copy of this PowerPoint, we will go ahead and send it to you, and so you don't have to request it because we're going to send it to you anyways. All right.
Get them the video too.
We'll get the video. The great thing about it, you don't have to take notes if you don't want to, because this will be put up on YouTube as a video, and we'll also send you a link to that so you can watch this over again at your own leisure. And even better yet, forward it to a friend or relative, and talk if they're interested in the market as well, so they can see all the cool statistics that I'm going to come across here for you. So just search for Austin Investment Webinar, and you'll be able to get a contact. This is all about relationship building, so please give me a call, ask me questions. If you're not ready to buy now, that's fine. If you're thinking about selling now, because that's great too. We actually have a really good network, including our property manager that manages over 550 properties, and we have a lot of insider information and insider properties, pocket listings, so to speak, that's what you call it, that are not out on the open market, but they are available for purchase. And we're going to cover some of those today, about 3/4 of the way through this webinar. Okay, so we'll just get started. Written a couple of national published books, and if you email me, I will send you if you email me your address, I'll send you a hard copy, signed hard copy of my Power Goals book. And if you're interested in the first-time home buying secrets, I don't know if we have any left on the shelf. Yeah, we have a few there. I'll send that to you too. The home buying secrets is great for people first or second-time home, or if you got a college graduate that wants to buy a house. Okay, so taking a look here, this is the way Austin looked in 2004 when I first started doing investment seminars, and pretty interesting that this is the way it looks now. So once again, we're seeing exponential growth here. With all the downtown high-rises, and that's all the way out to the suburbs too as well. So pretty interesting slide that we have here. Here's a newspaper article from last week. Home sales climbed 29%, local record for May. This is a sign of the times here in Austin, Texas. Now we've seen a little bit of a breather, a little bit of a slowdown due to the interest rates jumping, and people taking taking a little bit of rest. Also, June and July. Well, July has been a hot month until now. We've gotten some really good rain. We had a couple inches of rain, so and right now it's in the mid 80s. So we're excited about the cool weather. So take a look here at the Comeback Kid real estate. It's really only happened in the last 12 months. There's only a few places you can park money, and real estate right now is probably the best time in history to buy. We have the lowest cost of money. Actually, the lowest was 2 months ago before Bernanke opened his mouth about stimulating the interest rates. So we were at 3.25, and now we're at about 4.5, 4.25, 4.5, depending on where you go and what you're borrowing. And so 4 still the lowest rates in history. It's artificially low. So get your cheap money while it's here. Investment sales accounted for 27%. Then we need to update that. It's 2011. But right now, I understand it's more like 30% to 32% of the purchases are investor properties nationwide. Also, about 30% are cash purchases. It's just kind of interesting. A lot of cash out there on the street. That makes it also, challenging when you're trying to buy a property. You're competing against both owner occupants and cash buyers. So that's one of the things we do is make sure you get prepared when you go into purchasing a home. Make sure you get your pre-approval letter or your bank statement showing the cash, so that you can jump on it. And especially in good properties and good areas, they go quick. Warren Buffett, said recently, along with equities, single-family homes are a very attractive investment right now. He said that he would actually buy up a couple 100,000 single-family homes if it was practical to do so. One of the things we are actually seeing now is we're seeing hedge funds come into the market and doing exactly what Buffett said. They're buying up thousands of homes nationwide, and hedge funds are doing it because they are looking for a return on their investment. So if large stock type companies like hedge funds are doing it, why can't us as individual investors do it as well? So I know that Maria on our call here, on our webinar here, she is taking advantage of this situation, and she's purchasing properties under market value in her own backyard. And we call it diamonds in your own backyard, being able to purchase properties in your own neighborhood. And so if you live in Austin, why not purchase properties in your own hometown? If you live out of state, then you can still purchase properties here. We're going to show you some that are in the 140s that are on this webinar that you can purchase that are cash flow all day long. And once again, I looked at the stock market yesterday, and though it's done very well, especially during the last 12 months, it just kind of scares me. It looks kind of like a heart monitor. You just never know. And when you have a run-up of stocks like this, the usual, what goes up can come down, especially when you look at 10-year history of the stock market. And I know a lot of high-tech and very, very, very savvy investors that are in the stock market. They're pulling their money out and they're buying real estate, or at least a portion of it, because the thing is you've seen the 17% increase in value in the last year to date, but that just can be a chance for it to go the other way. And that's one thing about real estate, is it's much more stable. It does not take the big swings. We have pent-up demand, and we have a lack of supply, and that's going to continue on for the next several years. So lack of supply and high demand means a good, solid investment, especially in Austin. I'm going to show you some slides that will confirm that. So find out where people are moving and buy land. That's good old Roy Rogers. And the other thing is tenants pay off the property for you. So having free and clear property. Our typical investor is going to buy up 10 properties over 10 years and pay them off over 20, and then they're going to have quite a nice portfolio that will amount to typical purchase prices of what we have here in Austin, and amount to about $3 million free and clear. And guess what? Somebody else paid that off. So that's one of the cool things about real estate, is that you can own it and somebody else pays it off for you. And eventually you end up with positive cash flow. We won't get into a lot of the tax benefits. That's for another webinar, but there's some great tax benefits with regards to depreciation write-offs, to shelter your current ordinary income, There's 1031 exchanges where you can buy more property and not pay taxes on the gain. You defer it, and so, but we will, if I have enough time looking at the clock, we'll be able to go into that on some of the slides towards the end, okay? This is another interesting slide that's actually made me a lot of money over the years, because I started doing seminars in California and about where that peak is here in early 2000s, and actually this is the peak in 2005. Yeah, it was 2005, 2006, and I was telling people in California with the blue line that eventually this market's going to adjust. And for those that would have sold here at the top and then bought in Texas, they would have done really, really well. And the same thing kind of goes back here. You could 1031 back in year 2000, but you can see Austin's market is much more stable. You have your ups and downs, but you don't have the huge swings like you do in California. Actually, right now you probably see this line go back straight up, which in California. And so the first time in a long time where both markets are actually appreciating, accelerating at the same time. So we'll get this updated for 2013 on our next presentation. So we're still undervalued. Great place to be. High quality of life, affordable. They're not only are people moving here, but companies, full-on companies are moving here, especially from states that have high taxes like New York and California, where also we have great schools here, and so we find that a lot of people and companies are like, wow, they can get my kids can get a great education, and I don't have to pay for private schools. I don't have to worry about the schools running out of money like they are in California. The other thing,
ESPN just announced today that the X Games are coming to Austin.
So the X Games,
4-year contract.
So X Games, that's really exciting. This Austin is the live music capital of the world, and so it's the third coast, as they call it. You have West Coast, East Coast, and the third coast. It's live music everywhere. And, just my daughter, who's just 13, she turned 14 today. She got a record deal, and she played 2 different live events last weekend. So, to be able to go out and play live, what a cool thing to do. And also we have not only the X Games, we have the racetrack.
Well, it's at the racetrack.
Okay.
It's going to be.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
Circuit of the Americas.
Circuit of the Americas. Yeah, the Grand Prix. Is it Grand Prix? Formula One race.
And they have all kinds of concerts out there at that.
Yeah, some big names out there like Kenny Chesney and some big names out there. So also we got the capital of Texas, new Apple facility that's bringing in 3,000 jobs. That's being developed right now. In fact, if you go to Google and Google Apple jobs Austin, you'll see my video about the new Apple facility. It's actually 3,500 jobs, and of course all the music that goes on. So it's just a lot of fun to be here. Major employers include all these. I don't want to read through them. You can read through them yourself. But Whole Foods being one of the poster childs for entrepreneurship. That's another thing about Austin, Texas. Is a lot of entrepreneurship, a lot of venture capital, a lot of people, a lot of CEOs live here in this area. And so kind of what happened in 04 to 07, we had an investor rush that started in the Sun Belt states like California, Vegas, and Florida. And what happened is we are on the tail end of that run-up of investors because there was so much easy money out there. And, it was a great time for me because I sold 170 houses one year and 160 houses or 150 houses the next year. And so we enjoyed that. And here's why my point is, a lot of my pocket listings that I have are those investors that bought in 05, 06, 07. And what they're doing is now, for whatever reason, putting their kids through college or just getting married, getting divorced, whatever, they want to sell their properties. So like I said, I have pocket listings, which are these cherry-picked homes are only a few years old. But there, there was a glut of rentals at that time, but now it's been absorbed, and we actually have a shortage of supply of rental properties. We really have a rental shortage, period. So 04 to 07, we had a bit of a run up, but Texas doesn't have a huge appreciation as the areas of California. In 2007, 2012, investors started sloughing off their properties and selling them to owner occupants. So our supplies dropped. The apartment rents have gone up 20% in some areas. So we've seen a lot of people just are getting fed up with the whole rental market, and they go buy. And so all this works out to be a perfect storm, because you'd have, or say perfect opportunity, because you have now the builder's not able to keep up with the building, so people turn to resale homes. In the resale market, we had 5,500 homes in the market in Austin, and we had 4,900 pendings. Pending meaning those are homes that are under contract. So we're really running into a shortage of housing right here, both in new and resale. Builders can't keep up with it. They're raising their prices, which means resale is going to raise their prices as well, which is we're seeing. We saw about a 5 to 8% increase in prices citywide from the beginning of the year, and it's 5% in 6-7 months. That's a pretty quick appreciation factor. Some other areas that I have that I've seen, like one of my areas that I do a lot of business in, which is Avery Ranch. What we were selling for $200,000 in last year at this time, we're now selling for $230,000, $240,000. So that equates to even a 15% to 20% increase in value. Rents have also gone up 20% as well. So one of the things that a lot of people are forced to rent because they maybe had a short sale or whatever, or they just don't have the credit to buy now. So, and also a lot of people are moving to the area, so they don't really want to buy right now. They want to get to know the area, so they're going to rent for a while. Then they'll go buy something new or buy a resale. There's a lack of developed properties right now, and so builders are raising their prices because they can, and because they're being forced to, because labor, materials, and land is costing more. So we not only have, we have basically a housing of investment property and real estate, which is going to mean that prices are going up, just as they have, and they're going to continue to go up because we have room for price increases. This is an interesting slide that we have here, and we spent several days putting this together, but you can see on the far right that our rents have gone up 20%, 15%, 20%, 20%. These are some pretty interesting stats here, and so you might want to come back to this slide if you have a home in these areas, so you can see how things are performing. One of the things that we encourage, if you do own rental property, in the Austin area, get with me about doing not only a market analysis for value, but a market analysis for your rents, because we're seeing some of the property managers are not increasing their rents as much as they should be, either by just being lazy and making it easy on themselves, or because they just don't know. So here's your annual employment growth for Austin, Texas, and the U.S. We are leading the nation, as I told you, #1 job growth in the nation. Here's your employment recovery from just a few short years ago. Here's your Texas population growth. We're looking like we're going to be doubling our population here within, well, it seems like it doubles every every 15 years. So a lot of people moving here. Probably the #1 place people are moving to is in Texas. And Austin is a little bit different. Austin is a place that people want to move to in Texas. And a lot of good reasons why, mostly jobs, and that's going to continue because the companies keep moving here or expanding. And so this line is probably going to be a little steeper than what, can you tell us guys that we're trying to do a presentation here? Sorry about that. We have some people working in our office here, so I'm going to tell them to see if they can keep it down. So anyways, the Austin population groups. This is an interesting statistic here. We have baby boomers, or those are going to be your 47 to 65. Then you have your Gen Xers at 35 to 46. And look at the 16 to 34s, which is the largest population group that we have. Those are the Generation Y, they call it. And what we're seeing is that they have a tendency to, these days, is put off their home buying purchase a little bit longer, this Gen Y, and until they're a little bit older than the other generations that you see on this chart. So what that means is, with the largest population being in that range, we're going to see the largest amount of renters that we have. So always keeping our solid rental base to keep our rentals full. And homeownership rate really should be balanced out at about 63%, 64, 63%. This line here really is where it needs to be. So we're going to see homeownership rates decline. Again, a little more difficult in getting financing, but for a healthy market, it should be right here in between the 63, 64% and 65%. So once again, you're going to see more renters in the marketplace. Those that can buy will buy, and they'll be replaced by other renters that can't quite buy yet or don't want to. Okay, so take a look at the other metro areas. Houston's doing pretty well, and as far as the Austin area, you can see over the years it's done very consistently. This is great. As your mortgage payments being paid off, your value is going up. Values double about every 15 years, plus or minus, in Austin area. So one of the things that we like to teach our clients is if you just had a baby, go buy a house in Austin, put it on a 15-year loan. It'll probably be a break even, and in 15 years it should be worth double the value that you paid for it, and the loan will be paid off by the tenants. And now you have free and clear property that you could sell and put your kids through college.
The other thing about these charts is that Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio, on the charts, they're all capping out at about 160,000, whereas Austin's capping at 190.
Yeah, it's really the median price has gone up to 210, about 210,000. The average price, which is the weighted average, is about 238,000. So, and the average price has gone up, according to Statesman, is 8% since the beginning of the year. So what that means is that we're seeing more of the higher priced homes are selling. So, okay, so take a look at this chart again, and this is a prediction. This is from the Texas Texas A&M Real Estate University. Excuse me. So, we're seeing that price increases, and so you got to get in now and take advantage of those price increases, because if prices have gone up 5 to 8% since the beginning of the year, if you put 20% down, you would have a huge return on your money, on your investment. Let's say you just put 10% down, you buy owner-occupied, and it goes up, the value of the property goes up 5%. You've had a 50% increase in property value. I mean, in equity, 50% in 6 months increase in equity. Once again, looking at the chart, nothing but going up, and that's going back to 1999. And if you take this chart back to the 70s, you would see the same thing. It's just pretty much a nice, steady, even growth. We want a steady, even growth. We don't like to have large peaks when you own real estate, large peaks and valleys, because that's not healthy for real estate investors. But in Austin, we've got nice stability. Our inventory is actually down to about 3 months right now. So if you caught this. Okay, back to that counter cycle sheet again. All right, now let's take a look here. I just want to give you a quick run through the Austin area, just some pictures that I took all these pictures just to kind of give you a feel for our lifestyle here. There's the biggest Capitol building in the United States is the Texas Capitol building. It's 4 feet taller than the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. Everything's bigger in Texas. These are tollways that run crisscross now. And guess what? The tollway speed limit now is 85 miles an hour in some stretches. Pretty cool. 85 miles an hour. That means you can go 90. That's Terra Vista Golf Course Community. And Avery Ranch, that's where, I think, Patrick, you still live in Avery Ranch? It's a great area. That's 18th hole there overlooking. That's taken from the clubhouse. And I think that's Patrick actually out on the golf course. You're supposed to be working, Patrick. Okay. No, John does live in it. Okay, so that might be John right there. I'm sorry, I'm talking about Patrick and John. They're friends of mine. John actually bought his first house in one of the very first houses in Avery Ranch back in 2000, and he was one of the very first in, and now he's a real estate agent. So, all right, so here we go. There's once again great lifestyle. Oh, and here's boating is big. We have huge lakes that and if you recognize that island there, it's called Starnes Island. Was in the movie Spy Kids 3. So if you ever see that movie, there was a scene where they were out on an island with a house, and there was quite a few shots of this out here. And this is in Lake Travis. In fact, today, my daughter's 14th birthday, we're going out after this webinar and spending a couple hours out on the lake. So it's pretty exciting. It's 10 minutes from where I'm at here. And that's what it looks like, the big marina across from Carlos and Charlie's. All right, let's get it back into some business here. Here's your typical pro forma for a house that's, what is our purchase price? $130,000. And we're looking at $26,000 down, $3,900 closing costs prepaid and prepaids. So you're looking about 30 grand to get into it. 104,000 is your loan amount. 4.25%, probably more like 4.5 today. Just it went up quicker than we could keep these slides updated. So your payment's maybe $20 more than what you see in here. Payment's $832. You got your management of $114, and now you have a $946 total payment and management. So if you're getting $1,275 to $1,375, you're at $300 to $400 a month positive on this property. And just a typical, it's pretty good in, return on your investment. And so, you know, and once again, like I said, you're going to be paying, it's going to be paid off. If you did a 15-year mortgage on this, it would be paid off. It would probably be about a break even, and then it would be paid off in 15 years, obviously. Here's a $150,000 purchase, a little bit more down. But still, your cash to close is not that much more. It's about $33,900. Loan amount's $120. This is with only 20% down. If you can swing the 25%, do the 25%, you'll get a better interest rate. And once again, your payment's going to be about a little over $1,000, just under $1,100. And we're getting for a purchase price of about $1,350 to $1,500, with it leaning more towards the $1,100 range right now for that. And that's about 1% of the value of the property per month. It's a pretty good return. It's a lot of investors are looking for that 1% return per month. $175,000 purchase. You're looking at about $39 all in. Loan amount $140. Total payments are 12, and management plus management are about $1,227. And so you're going to see definitely positive cash flow on that as well. Several $100s a month. What my suggestion is, take that positive cash flow and pay it towards the balance, and you'll pay this thing off a lot quicker. And then $200,000, which is a good sweet spot for me, is because I get a better quality of tenant. They have a tendency to stay longer, and so I'm looking at, though I don't get as good a cash return, but I do get longer tenants. So you know, turnover costs money, and so I think it balances out better. Plus, they usually take better care of the property because they're usually executives or, you know, but a little bit more responsible demographic. Okay, so let's jump into being an investor. You know, we enjoy leverage and appreciation, and you know, question is, a lot of people don't buy at the bottom of the market because they don't know where the market's going to start appreciating. But don't wait for it to peak out to start buying. Buy now that we know that there's appreciation going on. We know that the prices have gone up and are continuing to go up. And I can show you statistic after statistic that shows, especially here in Austin, we're not developing enough lots to keep up with it. In fact, in that newspaper article, I'll grab it from the Statesman here. They said, one of the economists said that you need to have for every job there will be 2 starts. So every new high-paying job there should be 2 home starts. And it said that we should be at that clip. We should be building 18,000 homes a year. We're only building 9,800 right now. So it's, once again, housing shortage. What happens in the shortage? Prices go up. And that's what you want to capitalize on. So you got low cost of money and prices going up, and easier to get financing than you've been able to get in years. You know, it's time to jump in. One of the things we have to also understand, though, is that there's been a limitation on how many investor properties one can own. There's only a few companies out there that'll go to beyond 4 properties. One of the ones is our sponsor for this webinar, which is Prime Lending. They go up to 10 properties. So you go back to that investment retirement scenario, 10 properties in 10 years, pay them off in 20, you're going to be financially free. It's not hard to do, and you just need to know who to connect with, and that's hopefully going to be me. Connect with you and help you get through this process. All right, hey, well, now we're going to get into some properties, some real-life properties that are available right now. And this is some of my pocket inventory. This house is not on the open market. We just leased it for $1,350 a month. The owner of this house put in about $30,000, about $28,000 in renovations and fix-up, and then he also added a $12,000 garage behind the property as well. Because you can see that he's got a garage conversion. That's now the game room for the property. But he put in a double car garage behind it. It's a tandem car, 2-car garage behind it. This property is listed in my pocket listings for $149,000, and it is leased for $1,350 per month. So those numbers work out pretty darn well, because the payment on this is going to be about a little less than $1,000 a month, and you've got a tenant in place. So that's another great thing, is having a tenant in place will prevent that whole fear of, okay, well, how long is it going to be vacant? And this was actually vacant for 2 weeks. That's how quickly these things go. Here's the garage conversion that's now a game room. Look at those bay windows, expensive ceiling fans, great paint job, nice carpet. This is a house you should have bought, Daniel. Laminate floors, nice plantation shutters there. Nice outdoor covered patio area. So he did tile throughout the main areas, and you can see very clean, has a nice vaulted ceiling. So if you're interested in this one, this is going to be $149,000 and it's $1,350 a month. It's a neat property. It's in Round Rock, and great schools. Has one of the most desirable high schools for the area. Okay, here's one in Georgetown, which is my listing on Woodstock. This property is currently listed for $165,000. I think the owner said that they were going to reduce it to $160,000. It's been on the market 3 weeks, and it's leased for $1,400 a month. It's only a 5 or 6 year old house, stucco, great shape, backs up to open space, so there's nobody behind you. So that's kind of cool, and it's in a great area in Georgetown, which is a great city. It was voted the 3rd best small town in the nation a few years ago, and one of the safest cities in the nation as well. So take a look at the inside. Tenants are in good shape. They're here paying $1,400 a month for this house. You can see what the great condition that this property is in. And bay window, nice big master. So if you're interested in that, in the 160 price point range, I can get you set up on that property. It'll cash flow immediately. And once again, what's nice about buying a property that's already occupied, when you purchase a property, you will not have a payment until 30 days after the first. So if you bought it and closed on it in, say, September, you would not have a payment until November. But you get the rents immediately, starting when you close on the property, and then you would get your October payment. So you really are way ahead on rents. And the good news is, you know that you don't have to worry about a vacancy because there's somebody already living there. This is a property that I just listed yesterday, and we already have somebody that's called me and says they're going to put in an offer on it. This property is in Pioneer Crossing, 12 minutes from downtown Austin. It is a vacant property, and it's listed for $179,000. Nice property, in great shape. It's a David Weekley built house, which is one of the more popular builders in town. They usually build a lot nicer houses than a lot more pricey houses than this home. This 179 is, according to the property manager, will lease between $1,450 and $1,500, which is still a great cash flow. You can see the condition it's in. It's in great shape. It's only a few years old. Here's the backyard. Roof's in good shape. Lawn's in good care. Okay, one more property here that I've got listed. This has not been hit the open market yet. It will probably hit it today or tomorrow. And it is a really nice property. I think it's 4 bedrooms. I'm trying to go by memory. It's a townhome. It's 3 levels, and it's 2,400 square foot. Just off in Cedar Park, which is just north of Avery Ranch, off of Brushy Creek Road, and it's listed for $210,000, and will lease between $1,700 and $1,800 a month. And right now it's vacant, but the tenants just moved out, and they already have 2 applications on it. But you can buy it now. Nice hardwood floors, they did a really good job of fixing these properties up, and it's got a deck both there and then downstairs where there's kind of a really cool little downstairs area, almost like its own apartment with an additional bath, full bath downstairs. It also has a porch that this balcony is over the top of, and you see the kitchen, really good shape. It's a nice property, and got wood floors in the kitchen even. So take a run at that at $210,000. Okay, so here's my very popular listing, because I haven't put it in the MLS yet. I have not marketed this property. I just got the listing signed yesterday, and this is the fourplex that I was talking about. This is a fourplex that is in hot South Austin, Texas. So it's ones. There's actually two fourplexes. Let me see if I can get the other one. Yeah, these two fourplexes, one here and one here. They're on the same lot. You can separate them if you want, or you can buy it as an eightplex. This property here we've got them all leased. They're 100% occupied. They're 1-1s, and then the unit up there with the mailboxes is a 2-1. And these rent right now, they've got them leased at a total rental of around $2,700 per month. But you could easily increase those rents. The rents are low. I think they're like $550, and they could go to easily $695 for the 1-1s. And so you could really raise the price on these and get a really good cash flow on these properties. So these are listed for $295 each in South Austin. You can see the cars there, the people that live there, and decent, and they take good care of it. These are good, hardworking, a little blue-collar type thing, but they're good, hardworking folk, and they take good care of the property. Most of the units have been renovated. Many of the appliances have been replaced. Also, if you look closely down at the siding here, the owner of this property replaced all that siding around the building on the lower half with Hardy panel. He just did that recently. So that Hardy panel is a cement fiber product, so it's very durable. So it's a great property. If you're interested in multifamily, this could be a good property for you. So call me first, Kenn Renner, 512-423-5626. All right. Oh yeah, here's an interior shot of one of the units. We're in good shape. I didn't get another interior shot, but yeah, I mean, tile countertops and tile floors. You can see down there in the corner is a tile floor. This is going to give you a good return, and this is probably not going to last very long once I put it on the market. Here's a street scene. Just want to show you that mostly surrounded by single-family homes. So single-family homes around a fourplex is much more attractive than a fourplex surrounded by other fourplexes. And that's the problem with Austin area fourplexes. A lot of times you end up with a bunch of fourplexes, and like that area that you used to live at near Daniel, what was that area, that Southampton Street or whatever? Yeah, the street that you just don't want to go to at nighttime, But here you've got a family neighborhood, and you got this nice fourplex sitting there by itself. And so I highly recommend that property. We were going to talk a little, I guess we could talk a little bit, we've got some time here before hour's up, about the tax strategies with real estate. First of all, you get depreciation, and I'll just run this by you. A lot of people don't realize this in real estate, but you get a passive paper write-off of depreciation, which means take the value of the building, and that means just take the value of the land off the market value of the property, and then you divide that by 27.5 years, and that's how much your yearly depreciation write-off is. And so if you take a $150,000 building, divided by 27.5 years, that's about a $7,000 paper write-off every year. If you can't use the paper write-off because you make too much money, which means making over $150,000 of just grossed income per year, it carries over to the next year. In other words, depreciation does not go away; it just stores up in the property. And this is a strategy a lot of realtors don't talk about, but you can use that. You can use that stored up depreciation in your retirement years when your income is not so high to offset the positive cash flow on your free and clear property, and therefore you would have pretty much tax-free or tax-protected income during your retirement years. If that was a mouthful, then give me a call and I'll explain it to you a little bit better. I'm not a tax expert. I'm not a CPA, so I can't give you tax advice, but I can give you the general idea, and then you can run it by your CPA. and get their information about it. And you can also become a real estate professional, and you would get unlimited passive write-offs. That's why I haven't paid taxes in a long time, because I own enough rental property that my income is sheltered as a real estate professional. And that doesn't mean a real estate license. It just means a real estate professional, as the IRS would call it. So there's some rules about that. All you have to do is go into Google and dial in real estate professional IRS, and you'll find plenty of information on how to use that to protect your income. This is a great way to protect. This is the doctor scenario, where the doctor or the husband or wife is a doctor. The other spouse will stay home and become a real estate professional and do the required activities. That means that a rental property they own will shelter their current high income. That's something that Maria, one of the people here on our call, that we talked about when we met, because she's a stay-at-home mom buying up rental properties now, and her husband does very well in the high-tech industry, and very soon that depreciation of the property she owns will now not only offset her positive cash flow, but it will also offset the ordinary income of the spouse. Pretty cool. And of course, 1031 deferred exchanges. This is another strategy of how to buy more property without paying taxes. You actually defer the taxes, and it needs to be done specifically. So if you are going to buy a property here in the Austin, Texas area using a sale of another property, we highly recommend you talk to me first. We'll get you set up with an accommodator and get your CPA to run everything by, because you want to be able to defer your taxes, not pay capital gains when you sell it. And the great thing about, the old rule is you can't avoid death and taxes, but there is actually a way to avoid taxes at your death, and that's what's called a stepped-up basis. So what happens is all the appreciation that goes on over the years on these properties, when you pass on and your kids inherit this property, they get what's called a stepped-up basis, which means that all that appreciation that was stored up in the property, the kids now, their basis in the property will be the value of the property at the time of passing, which means that if you sold it the day before you died, you would have paid 15% plus a lot of extra taxes. But if you pass it on to your kids, they won't pay any of that you basically avoided taxes. All right? A little crash course on tax strategies. Yeah, I get this question a lot, about selling your primary residence. You can live in your property. All you have to do is live there 2 out of the past 5 years to claim the exemption, and that exemption is $250 to $500. What we see is another strategy in the retirement is you buy a retirement home now, keep it as a rental, and then eventually move into it later on down the road. And as long as you live there 2 out of the last 5 years, you would then avoid the capital gains if you sold it. So, if you bought 5 rental properties and in 20 years when they're all paid off, you moved into each one separately and lived there for 2 years, all that appreciation, all that doubling in value would now be tax-free if these exemptions are still in place in those years to come. So, pretty interesting strategy that you may have not have thought of. I'm not going to go too much into self-directed IRAs, but I will tell you that people are using their self-directed IRAs to buy investment property, and there's some very strategic ways to do that, and I can certainly discuss that with you, because being able to tap into your self-directed IRA and pay cash puts you in a better buying position than if somebody has to go out and finance. You're competing on an offer against somebody that has to finance. So once again, I want to get to some. Let's see where we're at here before. We got a lot more to do before the last 7 minutes here, so we'll get out of that for a second. Target properties here is that we're looking for great properties, newer properties in good areas, and of course like the multifamily, like the 2 fourplexes I have in South Austin. So, which are in good areas, great areas. So distressed properties, we're not seeing a whole lot of distress these days, because people are able, the appreciations happen, people are able to get out of their houses, and so we don't see a whole lot of REOs and short sales. Had a question from one of our attendees about lease purchases. We don't do lease purchases in Texas. Rent to own, there's ways to do it, but you can't really, the typical lease purchase we don't do here in the Austin area. What was the other question she had? Where to buy and where not to buy was a big one. You got to go with somebody who's been here for a long time to know where to buy and where not to buy. And that's what I think is important, is an expert like myself that's been here for the last 20 years and as an investor myself. That's an important thing and place to be. Not many realtors actually own investment property, believe it or not, and a lot of them don't even own their own home. So I put together your pro team. These are all people that I personally know that I can connect you with. If you don't already have one, it kind of looks like this. You know, the circle of a millionaire real estate investors network. You're in the middle, and then you have your mentors, partners, and consultants. I would hopefully fit in that inner circle. Then the next, you have your support circle, which is your real estate agents, other investors, accountants, contractors. As a real estate agent, I'm a top investment broker in town. I am networking with some of the other top investment brokers in this town, and that's where we're picking up our pocket listings, where people don't even hit the market, because we, as top agents, will share our listings first with those that we know have investors that they're working with right now looking for great properties. All right, and then of course the service circle. There's a lot of people. I have a whole full-page list of all these different kinds of people that can help you with your property. But I highly recommend that you have property management. So we have expert property management. I've given over 200 accounts to our sponsor, Austin Landmark Property Services. They do a very good job, a great job in management. And so their management fee is 9% of the gross month's rent. I highly recommend that. And Rick and Mike Ebert are the owners of that Austin Landmark Property Services. The good thing too I like about them is they don't do sales, and that's one thing you want to avoid. You want to try to avoid property managers that do both sales and property management. I find it as a conflict of interest. And our sponsor also, as Sherry Eckert with Prime Lending, you've got this information. So when we send you the slides, you can always refer back to this if you want to talk about financing and the different, as little as 10% down, believe it or not, with Fannie Mae foreclosures on the home path. The cash out refinance is up to 75% on an investment property. That's pretty darn good. So if you have, these guys are nationwide too. So if you have properties in other areas you want to tap into, then jump on that and give her a call and talk. She's very, very receptive, very nice, and she's very service oriented and wants to help. Go up to 10 properties owned. And one of the things that you have to be careful though of is what the new rules called the rules of rapid acquisition. And my friend Maria has also experienced this, that if you buy too many properties too quickly in 1 year period, they may not want to lend to you right away until you have, and the reason is they don't want you to get overextended too quick. But I find that where there is a will, there's a way. So one of the things I would recommend against is purchasing properties with a big box bank, a lender such as, we won't mention any names, but how about B of A, Wells Fargo, Compass? These big box banks are not set up and geared towards purchase loans on investment properties, and they also they don't really have the one-on-one care that you would expect that you get from a more localized bank such as Prime Lending. Okay? So my job is looking for long-term relationships. It's kind of Match.com for real estate here. So I'm looking for long-term relationships and referrals. Cherry pick the best properties possible for you. I act as your eyes and ears. I attend your walkthroughs. I help you with your leasing, and I help you sell them later on. I find every sale that I sell in real estate is actually 2 sales. We have the first sale that when I get you into the property, and someday if you want to sell it down the road, I want to be your agent to sell it as well. And so that's one of the reasons why, is that I want to sell you a great property so you'll come back to me and either buy more, or when it comes time to sell, you'll sell it with me. All right? So here's my contact information. It's been on every slide down there, and I'm one of the top brokers in the nation. In fact, we just saw, what was I, number 10 in the South Texas region, actually in the whole Texas region for sales. A small team of people that are very, very robust. We kind of call ourselves kind of like the Learjet or the Gulfstream jet of real estate. We're not a big giant jumbo jet team. We're stealthy. We're fast. We've got our inside pocket listings, and we have a good network of people that that you probably would never be able to get to on your own. It takes to take 20 years to put together a network of professionals like this is what I offer to you guys. All right. So here's the plan. Give me a call. We'll talk about it. I'll locate the properties. I'll take videos of the properties. I'll negotiate contracts for you and facilitate the transaction. And I'm always here to help. Mary is my office manager. She and leasing manager, and we also have Stephanie McCord is my expert contract processor, and then we have Daniel Sanford, who's over my shoulder here, does all our IT and technical stuff, gets our properties at the top of the search engines. So best compliment I can have as a professional is a referral from a satisfied client such as yourself. I love your referrals. You've got my contact information. Please don't do this. Say, hey, you know, I referred this guy to you over there at my work, and I hope he calls you. No, please do this for me if you could. If you like what I have to say, and my, you know, then and you think that I'm a trustworthy person or have worked with me before, say, hey, there's somebody at my work who wants to buy a home. Do you mind if I give Ken your phone number? And that way it's much easier for me to get in contact with them, because people jump into this market and they start doing a lot of things without their realtor, or they just pick the first realtor that comes along. So, all right, so I'm going to be sailing off into the sunset here with my 14-year-old birthday party out on Lake Travis, if it doesn't rain. And I hope you guys appreciate the time here. I certainly appreciate your time and value your relationship. So please, we will send everybody who attended and those that signed up that did not attend a copy of this PowerPoint, this presentation on video, and of course our contact information. Call me first, Kenn Renner, Keller Williams Lake Travis Market Center, 512-423-5626, and I will see you guys at the top. So thank you so much for your time today, and I will talk to you soon.